Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff. Hey guys, welcome back to FFC. I'm Maureen.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Jeanette.
And we are back with another episode for you. Today we are talking a recap of The Way Home. Now these are going to look a little different because it's so hard. Our episodes come out on Sundays, but that's when they premiere on Hallmark is Sundays. So we're in a bit of a pickle here. We know that it comes out on Peacock on Mondays where we can watch it. So we're not sure if you are listening to this now, when at the time of recording, we're not sure how these are coming out, but we know that we have to record after every episode because this is the mystery show and we are desperately trying to figure out what in the world is happening. So this particular episode, we are doing a recap of episode 1 of season 2, trying to figure some things out. And before we give our theories, we just kind of want to go over sort of what happened in the episode. Real simple.
If you haven't seen The Way Home yet, don't listen because there will be spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
And for episode 1.
Yes. And if you're thinking, well, I want to watch the first season, go watch the first season. We did do a recap of that. And that came out 2 or 3 weeks ago. Again, we're not sure when this is going to be put out because of how we have to record and when the show releases. But we did do one. Go back and check on our Fandom Family Chats, whether you look on Spreaker. By the way, that we do a new platform. We go through Spreaker.com. It's Spreaker.com. And you can check out our Facebook or our podcast there. You can also look us up on YouTube under Fandom Family Chats. But look up that. We have done that. Also, we just finished recently doing a recap of My Life with the Walter Boys. And we just did an interview with Ashley Holiday Tavares and Mohab Jindran, who plays Tara and Nick. So we just did a joint interview with them. Check that out. And if you have not seen My Life with the Walter Boys, it's on Netflix. Go watch it. And then let us know which team you are because we have different teams. Find us on YouTube and on that video where we talk the recap of My Life with the Walter Boys. Comment on that and let us know which team you are because I want to know how many people stand with me in our team. Nobody.
No one.
No, I think we're just a minority, but we're out there. My team is out there somewhere. People who back me and Eve. Eve is with me.
Just you two all alone.
So let's dig into episode 1. Let's just kind of do a recap. Now, of course, one of the first things that we see, am I wrong? This is how I remember it. I remember the very opening scene being the older woman holding Jacob's hand, telling him what the pond is, what it does. Jacob goes to jump into it. She says, not yet, and pulls him back. And part of me was like, how dare you stop that boy from getting back to his family? Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
But then part of me was also confused of, is this the first time he's ever seen the pond? Where in time are we?
Yeah. We're definitely not in current time.
No. You get the impression it's way back from when the land started.
Mm-hmm.
Which is okay.
Yes.
This is time travel never makes sense in my head. I'm like, okay, so everything that I'm watching, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do my theories kind of without.
Yep, that's all right.
Okay. All right. If Jacob was apparently from like way back when, which I think he was, then how did Andy
Alice?
Andy McDowell.
Oh,
Andy
Dell.
Dell. How did she birth him?
That was my question.
Like, how does time travel work? Because how do you birth somebody who was like in the 18? So
did we ever say that she gave birth to him, or do we just say that he is the son?
I mean, she would. I think that would be like a thing.
Maybe not,
because also
there's such a huge time gap between Kat and him.
I know,
maybe he was wandering.
I think we would have known if. I think they would have said if like Dell did not birth him because like
would that just not come up? Do you know what I mean? Like, not to the audience anyways. Maybe it's just not like
the family already knows. They don't have to keep discussing it.
Yeah, maybe it's just not something that's been like divulged to us as the audience.
I've tried to watch Doctor Strange and all that. It just doesn't make any sense.
Time travel.
I love this show though. Like it is keeping me so honed in. I'm like, okay, so what? Like I have to know what's going to be happening each week. This is one show that's like on Monday morning. I'm like, everybody leave me alone. I gotta watch
Yeah,
The Way Home.
Yeah.
agree. But also we saw Elliot's back, which I think Amanda said it that he looks travel has done him well, and I agree.
Yeah, like
Something
Elliot season 2. I don't know what you did there in break, but it worked.
well done. Yeah, no, I agree.
Oh.
But now I have a question about this. So he's been traveling,
Yeah.
and I knew he did say he went. I think he did say like maybe Mexico or whatever he said. He did say he went to see his dad. So I'm not saying that didn't happen because I think that did. But was he like actually traveling this whole time, or was he traveling? Because
But can he time travel?
well, he at one
We
time
haven't
told
seen it.
them that he couldn't. He evidently young Elliot, I think, said he tried and he couldn't.
Yeah.
But maybe something has changed now with older Elliot. I don't know. Something about the way they kept saying, there was something about the way they worded his traveling that just made me feel like we're missing something here. And I think I remember saying, well, I mean, I said in our thing, Elliot, there's something missing from his story. And I
Yes.
don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, there definitely is. There's still some kind of a mystery behind him.
Like there was also something very strange in the way that both Dell and Kat called him family. Not to say he hasn't felt like family, but they both use the term your family, which just makes, I don't know, there's just so many weird theories going through my head. Like, could Kat and him have been together as like an actual couple in a previous time? Like, we know that she goes back. There's just so many things about the wordplay of the things that they said in this episode that makes me wonder if that is a clue to something in the future. I don't know.
To me, the whole family thing, I didn't even like it. It just passed by me because he's been like
There.
for since like Kat was young. So I feel like that's just family.
And even
I think it's
what is
because
the
they
dad
both said
Colton?
it
He
in the
also
same-
built the loft was for Elliot in his barn.
Yep.
So I feel like that's just he is part of the family. I feel like the whole family just calls him a part of the family. I don't know. I mean, it could be something.
They've
Who
never
freaking knows?
said that. They've never said to him, "Your family," though, and that I remember until this episode, and they both said it.
I will say, when the postcards were coming in, I like little bells were kind of going off in my head. I was like, the postcards are kind of weird.
Yep.
Why postcards? Because postcards can come from any.
You can order postcards off Amazon from wherever you want in the world and then send them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, it was just so like there's something with the postcards in my brain. There's definitely something with the postcards. It was too like, I don't know, planned.
1995 to send a postcard to someone. I mean, like,
well, it just seemed like they were hitting the postcards very hard. Like they were drawing a lot of attention to the fact that he's here, and I know he's here because he sent me the postcard. And the fact that that's how they were hitting it so hard, I was like, he's not there. There's no way that he went to those places to do those things. Because, and we brought this up on our recap, I think, Jeanette, you brought it up, how he left was so abrupt and so un-Elliot-like that there had to be a different reasoning behind his leaving other than, I need space. Because that's not... especially for him to come back and expect Kat to be like, oh, Elliot, I'm so glad you're here. And he's surprised that people are mad that he left. So I think I didn't think about the traveling to other places, to like in the pond. I didn't think about that. I just thought he was trying to figure out where Jacob was and trying to do more research into the time travel thing is what I thought he was doing. But maybe he thought that everything should be cool because he time traveled and he made things cool. So he was surprised when he came back that things weren't.
right. Well, to kind of piggyback off that, I know it happens towards like at the end of the episode, but like when Alice and Kat both jump into the water, they're going to go together, but then they get taken to different places. Alice comes back out and she sees young Elliot.
He's sprinting towards the pond.
We're supposed to assume that young Elliot, she's gone back in time, even though she's been told by Elliot that she does not come back ever again. Okay. She was told that last season.
So is the young Elliot get into the future?
Did she go anywhere, or is young Elliot just happened to be near the pond because he's been time traveling? So because he looked surprised, and maybe it's because she had never come back before and something's changed. That could be the surprise as well.
I don't think so.
It it was also weird because they made it seem that you saw visually in the water nothing wrapped around her leg. Like
Exactly.
something wrapped around, I almost said Lexi.
Yeah, cat.
Cat. But Alice, there was nothing like wrapped around. It looks like she just comes back up in the same time period, yet there's young Elliot. So in my mind, I thought about it, but I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm still so confused.
I think there's definitely a possibility that it's him that traveled.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
also the moment at the bonfire or whatever.
When she sees him there.
Well,
Mm,
and then when he's talking, young Elliot is talking to Colton, and he said, "Did you hear that?" And we see that back of that person, and I think we're supposed to believe that it's maybe Colton because it kind of looks like Colton.
no,
But
that
in
looked
my
exactly like Colton.
but I
Wait, what?
think because
When he's
because I
sitting next to Colton at the fire pit and he says, "Did you hear that?" He was talking to Colton.
yeah, but there's somebody in the woods, like
Yeah,
I
because
didn't
they're like,
see that.
no,
somebody
and
in
I
the
then you
woods
even
see
is
the back
rewound
of his
it.
head,
well,
not in the
that's what.
woods, but it was like by the
Oh,
house.
okay.
But
Then
Looking at the house.
because it looks exactly like Colton, that seems like a big, like you just gave it to us. Is it a Colton, or is it in fact someone else that just they're making us believe it's Colton? Like
I
two
think it's
options in
Colton.
my head is either an older Jacob, because that would look, or it's like a different Elliot, like maybe an Elliot from the future who that's why he looks like it. I don't know. The fact
To me,
that
he just looks
Elliot
too much
heard
like
the
him.
noise, I think Elliot's time traveling.
I'm not disagreeing with you about that
Yeah.
because it makes sense in my head. But the
Maureen, I
back of
think
the
you need
head
to
we
see
see
that.
facing the house at the very end,
Yeah.
that to me was like didn't have like any question. It was like
Well,
Colton, but it was like
only because,
nowadays.
but
So
why would
he
that be
time traveled.
like? I feel like that would be such a clue to just that's such a big question to answer for us in that one scene that I feel like there's got to be more to it, which is what makes me think it looks like Colton, but it's going to turn out that it is not Colton, in fact.
See, I think
wait,
they just wanted to leave us on the edge of our seats at the
are
very
you
end.
saying from the back of that head it looks exactly like Colton?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. You should go watch the scene.
From
Like
the back, did watch the scene. I did. When you said that, I thought you meant to see the front of the guy's face, and I was like, "Well, yeah, because he was talking to Colton. Of course, it looks like Colton. That was
no,
Colton."
no, it's
No,
from the
I
back
from the
of
can't
the
back
tell
of
who it
his
is from the
head.
back of the head. I mean,
It
I have
definitely
It
looks
guesses,
looks
like
like
but I can't
Colton
tell.
from the back of the head.
Cat's dad.
Yes.
I thought it looked like young Elliot, but I also wasn't thinking that
He's
young
got
Elliot
like
was sitting
gray
in front of the
peppered in
campfire.
his hair.
I just remember seeing a black shadow.
No, you could see his whole shirt. He's wearing the
Hang
blue
on.
plaid.
I don't think you could see colors, but I think it definitely was meant to look, because I definitely Colton popped in my head too. They wanted us to think it looks like Colton.
I thought young Elliot or old Jacob is what I thought. Those were my two thoughts because I can't. In my head, I watched this on. What did I watch? I think I watched it on Wednesday with Maya, and I thought, from what my memory is, I remember thinking that he was looking at the older people. There's something too to that guy selling his land.
Yep. And the horse.
Yeah.
There's so much.
The horse,
The
absolutely.
horse. I think that's Colton with the horse.
You think that is actually Colton?
Oh,
I don't know what I think.
he's turned into a Black Beauty.
I mean, look, we're time traveling. I think anything is possible, if I'm being honest.
We're time travel. Oh my gosh. I was gonna say we're time traveling. You're not doing magic.
We are, though. That's what I'm saying. Anything is possible at this
Time
point.
travel is magic.
Okay, so I'm kind of scrolling through here backwards, and I see the part where young Elliot looks away with this conversation with Colton, but it starts with old Elliot looking into the fire, almost scared. So
Elliot's sketchy is all I'm saying this
So
episode.
we're missing, I feel like, a chunk
because
of the Elliot story.
Elliot is very you don't tell me anything. I can't tell you anything. Like that's kind of how he is about everything. Because there is something about the way that Colton speaks to Elliot at that campfire too.
Mhm.
There's so many things. And Elliot almost seems sinister when he sees Kat and Alice going back to the pond.
Sinister? Really?
Yeah, the way he
I always
looks
feel
at
like he
them
just
out the
looks like
window.
concerned.
Why was he so? I mean, because even last season he was so like upset the cat kept going back and back and back, and I don't
Because
know.
it
there's
changes
just-
things.
I don't know. I think it's more than that. I honestly do.
I think it's a Self something.
I think there is something to Elliot because I think what I wrote in my notes was that he was one thing that really kind of jarred me was he was mid sprint toward the pond when Alice popped up. And not only did he look surprised, but she was confused because usually when it pulls you down into a different time, it grabs you. She wasn't grabbed, just her mom was. So I don't think Alice actually time traveled. I think, and even when she comes back up, it looks the same as when she went in.
I agree.
So I think Elliot was in present day and he was like, holy crap, you're here. I think he was running from something because maybe he got caught. Maybe someone's on his tail, something, I don't know. But I think he was in the future. So he can clearly time travel. So there's way more to Elliot here than we think. And maybe he wasn't being honest with Alice when he said, I tried once and it didn't let me. Maybe he wasn't being honest about that.
Have we ever seen Elliot and Jacob together?
Yes.
Yes, when they're little. Other people already have that theory too, and I'm like, that's just weird because
I didn't think so. It just all into my head. Like,
but I mean,
think that hard.
Alice was hanging out with her mom, and I think if Alice, I think younger or Big Cat went back to the time when Cat was teen, and they could have been seen together, but she stayed away. So I mean, Elliot could be Jacob.
But why would he try? He would sleep with his sister. I mean, like that's gross.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so.
I didn't even think about that.
Because people have made the same argument about the guy that ran the newspaper last season, Byron. People have tried to say that that's Jacob, but I'm like, then he tried to date his mom. Like, no, that's weird. Like, that's not going to be the case.
Him being tied to Jacob didn't ever enter my mind until just this moment ago.
Honestly, I remember thinking there was something weird about Byron, but I didn't know what. There was just something, I don't know. Maybe
he is tied, maybe generationally, because the witch thing, we have that witch thing we got to come back to. So maybe because we see that woman with Jacob in the very beginning of this episode, maybe Byron is from that line of witches. And maybe that's his connection there, is maybe he knows more. He knows, maybe that's why he's trying to get with Dell, because he understands that her land has this pond and he wants to gain access to that in some way because that's his line, that's his generational line. Maybe, but I don't think that he has another tie to Jacob. I think Elliot is trying to figure out what's happening. And I think because Alice tells him Jacob is going missing, I think from then he starts to go into the pond to try to figure out what happens to Jacob too. Because of his love for Kat, he's trying to bring Jacob back to her, I think. Yeah. But I again, you can't control where you time travel to. So I don't think he was traveling the world when he was gone. I think he was doing something else. And I think he got stuck somewhere. But then those maybe he set up the postcards. I mean, you could set up things. You look at the movie P.S. I Love You. Do you ever see that movie?
Yes.
And before he died, he set up the mail to come at strategic times. I mean, Elliot could have done that beforehand just in case, because he was aware you could get stuck. He's had that conversation with Alice.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he was traveling the world. I think they honed in on that too intentionally. And when he sees them running, because he asks, I think he seemed too relieved when he asked Kat if you'd been traveling in the pond. He was too relieved that they hadn't. And then when he saw them running back, he looked sinister, but I guess concerned could be another way to look at it. It was just weird how they focused on him in his dark place, opening the curtain while texting, and then he deleted the text he was writing to Kat, or Kat. Yeah. I get Kat and Alice mixed up a lot. Just the names, not their characters.
I don't know. I think I understand the concern about her, but it changing things, but
he's too concerned.
He's too worried about the fact that they keep going back in the pond.
I haven't figured out what it is, because I hope they don't turn Elliot into a bad guy. I don't think he is.
I don't think they will.
I just think he knows more.
Yeah. I think they might lead us there for a little while. But I don't think we'll stay there. I don't know.
And when the girls go to jump in the pond that one time after they realized Jacob was here, whatever. This is my irritation with that scene, is that they jump in, right? So they know there's no ice over where they jumped in because they jumped in. Yeah. Alice is under the water, refusing to move from under the ice. And then Kat's like, I almost lost you. Well, that's because she was too stupid to move 2 inches to the left and get out of the top of the water where she jumped in. She didn't have to be stuck under the ice. Only a quarter of that pond was covered in ice. I was really irritated by that. Like, really, this is what we're gonna do. So that's why they don't jump. It's not for any other reason. It's because I almost lost you. You could have died. And that just seemed a little flat to me. I didn't like it.
I agree.
And then that's when we see that Alice is struggling with leaving the past and struggling with living in the present. Although I now that you mention it, I think more about that now, because did she actually see Elliot at the campfire? I mean, yeah, he was there 1 second and gone the next, but did he actually show up there to watch her?
Maybe. I
Maybe,
think yeah.
maybe teen Elliot had a little crush on both Kat and Alice, which
Oh
would be
no.
weirder
I
now.
don't think so, but
Why would he?
I'm
But why, if that really was him there, why would he show up to just watch her at the
maybe
campfire?
maybe there's something else that he knows that the rest of us don't, that he's like, I don't know. But if he can time travel, this is what I'm saying. Like, I kind of want, can he bring Nick with him? Because, like, again, like, we want Nick and
Please?
Alice together.
That
So
still frustrates me. Where was Nick this? Oh, did we?
we talked about Nick quite a bit. Like,
No, I know. I
So-
really want Nick and Alice together.
I think it's gonna happen. I think we wouldn't have talked about it again if we're not gonna find a way for that.
I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, I blocked that talk
happen.
out in this episode. Was there talk about him in this episode?
Yeah, Nick was even in this episode, like young Nick was.
Young Nick.
Oh
was.
yeah, when he was encouraging Elliot to go talk to Kat, but I felt that was more Elliot and Kat focused than.
Well, yeah, but if you watch the recap, did you watch the recap from last season? Like when it did at the beginning of the episode, like they focused in on like the Nick and Alice thing a lot. I think it's still gonna happen somehow.
Yeah. No, I noticed that too with the recap.
Otherwise, I think there's no point in talking about it again.
Because I don't think adult Nick and teen Nick can exist in the same world for very long.
Well, if adult Nick doesn't live anywhere around there, which he doesn't, who cares? Go somewhere else.
I don't think that's how it works.
I don't think that's how it works
Look,
though.
we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out.
And I do know that there was something to Alice going to her dad's for the entire summer too. Part of that was like, what is okay?
Also, how like that can't happen now, and is it gonna be
No.
because Kat's gonna be missing? So then what, is Brady coming back? Like, is Brady gonna come there? Look, I actually would like, I don't want Brady and Kat together, but I would like to see Brady, like, I don't hate his character. Like,
No.
I wouldn't mind him to like come and be involved in this.
But I feel like he can't be there and not try to regain Kat because
No,
like
because he
going
has
from-
Rachel.
I know that, but he had Rachel when he made out with Kat last year too, and he was mad that she was with Elliot because it's like, well, you can't be with him because I want you, even though I'm with Rachel. And Kat even says that to him, and he says, "Well, she's not you." Yeah, so it feels like every time he comes back, maybe it'll be better without Kat there because I actually do like I do like adult Brady. It's
Yeah.
teen Brady I want to kick in the no spot, but I think here. As an adult, what I didn't like is every time he came back, he tried to be like, no, Kat, you and I, we're it. Even though he didn't really feel that way. He just wanted what he wanted in the moment. So if he helps bring her back, that might redeem him a little bit for me.
Mhm.
I think he's got to come back though.
I think he'll have to. I mean, I don't know.
No, I
it'd
think he'll be
disappointing if he
back.
doesn't. Yeah.
Because if she's missing, and I mean, obviously she's going to be missing for a while because at the end of the
Well,
episode,
is
she
she
gets
missing?
shot. Well, she's
Mhm.
definitely pulled to a different time, so she is missing.
Uh-huh.
Well, we don't know if Alice is.
No, Kat.
Oh, you mean if Kat goes missing?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Kat is
I don't know
missing.
why I was thinking the whole time we were talking about Alice.
Because I probably said Alice. I get their names mixed up all the time. I know which person I'm talking about, but I always forget which one is Alice and which one is Kat. But that was the other thing. Like Maya was mocking. She's like, "Mom, you're being too ridiculous." But when she got shot, it looked to me like she got shot in the shoulder.
It does. It doesn't look
And
like
then
life threatening.
she's like,
look.
"I'm dead in the water." But it's not. You didn't
bet
like
she,
jump
like,
from a
passes
bridge
out and
into
then,
the
like-
water. Maybe. But I just thought she was floating upside down in the pond for way too instantaneously than required by the
The
wound.
pain could like knock her out, maybe.
Okay.
A shock out.
Especially with
just-
whatever
that
kind
was
of gun.
painful.
I mean, think
It
about what
looked
kind
like
of
a
gun that
musket
is.
gun.
So that's probably
Oh.
pretty painful. Like,
That's
That's
true.
that's like a.
I mean,
Isn't that
I
like
feel
a
like that could
thing?
definitely knock you out. Like,
That's true.
it's not like it's not like a today gun. Like, it's something different. So, I don't
So
know.
we're not actually given the time frame that either one of them returned to. We're just assuming that because of the way they went, that Alice returned to where she was, that she never went
Yeah.
anywhere. And that Kat, I'm assuming, went back to the time when we see her running through the woods with the long flowing hair
I think so.
because of the style of gun that she was shot with.
Yeah.
And I think
And
we
we
might-
know she was in the 1800s.
Yes. So we might be preparing to this might be the start of the White Witch story.
Yeah.
I'd be
I
happy with
think anyway.
that. I need some answers. So
Yes, because I really want to know. Because, okay, so this is the other thing, that lady, what was the lady's name who died? I could not remember
Ellen?
her name.
I think
Evelyn?
no.
What was the
Was
last
it
name
Evelyn?
though?
I don't know. I missed that.
Because you can't even look it up on IMDb because she's not actually a character in the show. It's just the name that came out.
Really?
No, you never see her. She's the first time you hear her mentioned, she's
Oh,
dead. So
yeah,
there's no actor listed for the character name.
Yeah.
but I need a face.
We don't
Except
have
for
one.
Probably, Evelyn's probably the lady that well, I don't know. That's too far back. I don't know. See, that's where it gets confusing
But not if she's a witch.
because they made it sound that's true. Because they made it sound like they at least knew Evelyn,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
somewhat.
what they knew of her, she used to be in town, but she retreated. And I think she started maybe retreated once she realized, okay, because she covered up the cat picture, right? And she lived her entire adult life by her binoculars outside that
Mhm.
window. So I think she was watching them time travel because she knew them from before.
What if
She
Evelyn
recognized-
is the lady that shot Catherine?
I don't know, look like a dude who shot Catherine.
Oh, I thought it was a girl.
All you see is a hood and a gun, and you
Or
don't
maybe
see a
it's in the
face.
maybe it's in the preview for the next episode.
Oh,
Some reason I thought it was a
I
girl
forget that there's
too.
previews for this show.
There's a preview. I think it's maybe in the preview then. I'm
I
pretty sure it's a
hate-
woman.
Okay, I have a bone to pick. You want to put shows on Hulu? You want to put them on Peacock after the next day? That's great. We're glad to watch them. Please, for the love of God, put the previews in there because
I
none of us
know,
remember
that-
they
that
exist.
irritates me.
I go to YouTube and look up the previews right after I finish.
I didn't
I-
watch it either, Marina, if it makes you feel any better.
I just always forget they exist.
I do too. I don't think about it.
Or there was maybe it's a sneak peek. There's something I found on YouTube that had something.
Hanging by a Moment is the name of it.
Nope, that's not what I saw. I saw some lady and she's in old-timey clothes, like a white shirt and a brown skirt, and she's got her all 1800s looking, and she's got the gun in her hand. I don't know where I saw this.
No, I
Who are
saw
the-
that too. It has to be in the episode.
Okay, so I'm not imagining, and it's not in the episode because in the episode we don't see the person, we see just the gun.
Yeah, that's all I saw was that. I didn't
So
see
it's-
anything else.
I'm pretty sure it's a woman.
TikTok,
so maybe
maybe?
it's Evelyn.
Did somebody post something on TikTok?
I don't know. I saw it somewhere. If I find it, I'm gonna send it to y'all. After we're done here, I'm gonna go on a major search.
So FFC fans, we couldn't find it. We found 3 other things that we've never seen before about next week's episode, but we couldn't find. Oh no, it's tonight's episode.
Tonight.
Yeah.
But
Well, not for you guys.
now I'm very excited to watch it tomorrow morning.
I'm very confident that it's a woman though.
So okay, so back to the woman who found them. She has that picture of Cat from the 1800s. Now, in the preview that we saw of Cat lying with apparently blood streaking down her arm or somewhere, she already looked like she had the long hair, but it shouldn't have been that already. If she still was recovering from the
Yeah.
bullet wound, it shouldn't be like that already. But she's obviously saved. She was it's the outfit that she's got with the 1800s bed shirt thing that
Yeah.
women wore. She's in bed with that. So obviously we knew she didn't die, but I think that woman who was watching I think it was very important that she would watch with binoculars from a particular window in her
Yeah.
home and she never left. So was she a time traveler and that's why she never left because she didn't want to run into anybody and the only people who time traveled were Alice and Kat. Dell didn't know, so Dell knew her because she didn't time
Yeah.
travel. So is Dell the only one she allowed to see? Who is this person?
It's a good question. I don't know. I want to tell you something that is interesting. That is another theory that potentially Colton has time traveled as well. Is on the bottom of that painting. It says "My Catherine." Do we remember when he was dying and he was in Kat's arms? He
I don't
looked up
remember
at her,
that.
recognized her, and which we thought was weird because he never.
Oh yeah, I
saw
do remember
her.
that. Yeah.
He looked at her and said, "My Catherine." I just think that's
That
coincidental.
seems
He said
very
that-
romantic, though.
He said those exact words. And
Just kinda
we've
weirding
never,
me
I don't
out.
feel like I've heard her called Catherine at all, other than that moment and on this painting.
I do think that the Landrys who are Landrys by blood are the ones who are actively time traveling, whether by mistake or on purpose.
Well, and
I
that's
think-
weird if Elliot is then.
But he said, "What are you doing here?" So will we see that in the little preview we saw for next week? That wasn't actually in this week's episode. In the preview we saw for next week, he says, "What are you doing here?" But then the next scene, Alice is with adult Elliot. So I was gonna say maybe he didn't travel. He was just surprised to see her.
No, I don't know. I'm not convinced that I think Elliot's traveling.
I do
I
too.
do
I
too.
think so too. maybe that's behind maybe that's why they keep hitting the your family, because only Landry family members can time travel. Not that he's a blood family member, because again, weird if he's doing that with Kat and he's blood relative.
Weird.
But I think maybe the pond recognized those familial bonds in people.
Then why has Dell never been able to? I mean, I guess she
I don't
never
think Dell
tried.
ever knew. I don't think she ever did it.
Yeah.
But the dog can do it, hypothetically.
I think so.
So I mean, I think
It's the dog a Landry by blood.
exactly. So I mean,
That's
I
true.
just think Dell doesn't. I don't think Dell's mind works to believe that. I don't think she.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing with that issue is, then why wouldn't Colton go to the pond to see if he could find his boy in the pond? See if he can travel back to where his boy was, because he was
Maybe-
actively when he died, wasn't he out putting out posters for Jacob in the town?
Maybe he did, and we just didn't know that.
That's true, because that's the only thing that's pulling back my theory on that all Landrys can travel is that.
Mhm.
Okay, so anything else happened in the episode that we think is important? I think those are the main things that happened.
I think those are the main ones that
Yeah.
happened.
I think for me, I think what we're going to focus on in the next episode has got to be obviously where Kat's at back in
Mhm.
time. I think that we are going to focus on, I mean, we saw in the preview that Elliot gets way more involved. But then Alice says something to him and he looks, of course, it's the way they put it together in the preview. So the words that she's saying to Elliot don't always match up with the timing in the preview. But she says, I thought you didn't want to get involved. And he looks very stressed out and very
Mhm.
upset when this is said to him and he's looking up. So I think Elliot discovers something in his travel while he was gone. I don't think he intended to be gone that long, but I think that it happened, that's how the travel worked. He was gone that long. He found out some things that are very scary, which is why he's very like walking on eggshells around Alice and Dell. And it did seem like in that little clip we got from next week that he might be the one who's thinking about buying the land. That's the other thing, that the land that the farmer is giving up, there's something to that. Because we've never
Yeah.
seen this dude before.
Right.
No,
And he
there's
comes up
definitely
and he's
something.
like, I'm selling the land to this. And then we see that black horse everywhere. So what do you think the black horse is?
He's
Other
definitely
than
a time
Colton.
traveler too. Just like the dog. He's a time traveler for
He
sure.
that horse definitely looked like he was from the 1800s.
I think,
Just
like,
saying.
is that
He's
weird? But I
bareback.
definitely-
No,
I
it
mean,
is.
Yeah, it's definitely an 1800s horse, I think. I think the same thing though.
I know that we
It
sound
looked
crazy.
old. It
No,
looked young
anybody
old.
who watched, you understand. You thought it's an 1800s horse too.
Yes.
We all agree. on that.
Absolutely, I agree. And
No, I was
The-
definitely thinking like original Black Beauty.
Yeah.
It looks like Black Beauty. Yeah.
and it's a Landry horse, because the way that Dell connected with it
Mhm.
and the way it kept, so maybe it is Colton.
I think it's Colton.
Maybe he just got stuck.
The horse
In a
is
horse?
I mean,
a witch, maybe Byron's grandma cast a spell on Colton when he returned there, and she's like, "You're a horse now." So he returned. He's like,
I
"Hey,
mean,
hey, fancy lady."
he does
Try-
have a connection
Dell.
with Dell. I'm saying.
And I mean, maybe is Byron gone now because Kat is now the editor in chief? Is
I
he
mean,
like
the
all?
name was like
I
off,
think,
off everything if
Yeah.
you looked.
but he
so.
like disappeared so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was weird too. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't.
What
There's
is
so
with these men? These men in the Landry women's lives, like other than Colton, like they're all flaky and they just want to disappear.
I
on
mean,
a
it's not
whim.
Jacob's fault that he was sort of flaky. He fell.
Yeah, I was actually, even though he did literally disappear. I wasn't actually talking about Jacob.
We're just really sadistic people here. Like, how dare you?
He quite literally disappeared.
But he
Yeah,
seemed
no.
very comfortable with that woman holding his hand. He seemed to trust her
Yeah.
very, very much. So
Yeah.
I think I'm still on that track of he is the OG time traveler and he is the one who founded the Landry land.
I actually had that thought. And that
Well,
somehow
that's what we discussed in the last episode, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, like, I guess I had that thought, like, I don't know. It is weird. Of course, I mean, like, why would they don't need to tell us somebody's adopted? Like,
No, they don't.
yeah, I mean, you would just, I mean, he's
But
still,
I feel like they
would.
would.
But would they? If they want us to, like, I don't know. Maybe that'll come up, like, soon.
I mean, it's the same thing of there's a lot of, we're assuming a lot of things about, well, they didn't tell us that Colton, maybe they just didn't tell us Colton looked in the
Can
pond.
turn
Maybe he
into a
did.
horse.
So So
You
running
never know.
theories is this boy that Dell gave birth to actually founded the land and is the original. He's her great father-in-law, who's also her son. Colton is actually a horse.
I feel like these are going to be crazier than our cruel summer theories.
And the
Actually,
dog is
he is the time traveler who teaches it. The dog is Elliot.
the original
There
actual
you
time
go.
traveler.
He's the one who has all the knowledge. He led Jacob to the pond so that he could time
he
travel.
kind of did.
You know,
Kind of did.
And maybe the old lady in the house is old Catherine who died.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly thought that it could be.
I know that one was
Yeah.
a serious one. I know I threw it in there on the tail end of
No,
dogs
know,
and
but
animals are people, but
that
Okay.
that's crossed my mind a few times.
that would be why she would hide from Cat.
Yeah.
Y'all want to hear another? Okay, so let me just read you my little notes that I have written. Okay,
Okay,
because
yes,
there's one
please.
another funny one. Okay, so I just wrote some are questions, some are just thoughts. I had Elliot is family. Kat and Dell say it. Okay, I said about the painting, my Catherine, same as Colton calls her when she dies. Oh, something we didn't talk about. When Kat was looking out that window, those sounds that she kept hearing coming from like that courtyard. That
don't
almost
remember
sounded like
that.
a party or something happening. Like
Oh,
it was
yeah,
almost
yeah.
like a flashback in her
Mhm.
head.
That's
Like,
what I
was
thought when
that?
I was watching it too. It was a flashback.
I had who was watching them at the bonfire. I said it looked like Colton, but could throw us off. Is it grown Jacob? Elliot? Don't know. Elliot's travel. Could it be pond travel? Which is what I called it. And then I said more Nick. Can we have them be in game? Okay, but here's something. They mentioned again about the initials on the fireplace. One of the initials, which maybe it's Evelyn Landry, but also popped in my head like we're saying Evelyn, but like could there be like I mean Elliot, right? That starts with an E as well. Although the RL.
But Elliot and Kat cannot be related.
I don't know. I'm just saying. So I feel like them telling us again that we had EL and RL. So
Okay,
like
so wait,
who's RL then?
here's the thing though. Weren't you mocking Amanda for reading the Uncle
Yeah.
Brother romance books? And now you're like, hey, he can be her uncle brother.
Finished it and it was
He might
actually
be her
pretty
uncle
good.
brother. You don't know.
Just saying that book was actually not bad.
I've heard the opposite. Okay, my next
Wait.
thing just
So
said
okay, the
horse,
initials on the fireplace are what?
EL and RL.
EL and RL.
I know I really wanted it to be KL because then I was really gonna be like Elliot and Kat.
What did they say the names were? I forget.
I
Evelyn
guess it could be
Landry.
Evelyn because Evelyn's the old lady, so it could be Evelyn Landry, which I don't know who RL is then.
But Evelyn Landry wasn't a part of their family. Evelyn just is the one who died.
That's true.
She wasn't because
But
that's one thing that they
was
said. They said she is the last member of the founding family. That's the first house built there. And then Kat says to Dell, but no, that's not right because we are also a founding family. Our land has been here as long as hers has been here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So she's not supposed to be a Landry, but maybe she is.
Okay, so my next thing said horse question mark, but now I'm gonna put is it Colton because I'm gonna roll with that. Okay,
I'm
And
gonna
then
laugh
that-
so hard if it actually is Colton.
I'm gonna stick with that theory. That's my crazy one that I'm just gonna roll with and see if it comes true. And then about the farm, who bought the farm, and then why did Evelyn leave everything to Kat? So I think those are all questions we've discussed, but I don't know.
I don't think Evelyn left everything to Kat. I think that it was what happened was that Evelyn took over, or Kat took over the newspaper, and Evelyn was trying to make a museum, and so she left it to the newspaper, and the
Okay.
newspaper is
So I
now
misunderstood.
Kat's.
Gotcha.
Is what I think happened.
Okay.
I think that's what the lawyer said.
I do want to also make a reference that we're old because I was on another page and a bunch of people were like, "Why? What was her reference to Indiana Jones? I didn't get that." And I was like, "About the
I've never even
boxes?"
seen Indiana Jones, but I absolutely understood the reference.
I'm like, "Oh my god, no one's seen these movies." Children. So made me laugh.
All right, any
I'm
other
still
theories?
trying to find the back of the head over here.
I'm gonna find it and
I
I'm
am caught up in this.
I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you all the time that it's at here in a minute
Oh,
when
I
I
am
find it. I'm also gonna find the lady with her musket because
Can't
that
find
happened
that.
too.
Also, do the names of the shows mean anything?
I don't know. I've
Space in
honestly never paid
between.
attention.
This is the space between is the name of this episode. Maybe that's something we should bring up. And the next one, what is the title of the next one?
I don't know actually.
We didn't discuss the bracelet either.
Oh, that it
Oh,
gave it back to her. That was why I thought she wasn't time traveling because the bracelet was supposed to be the goodbye to Alice. Or so, of course, that's what they said, but they don't have any idea what the heck they're talking about.
But maybe because like, okay, so he said she never went back. Maybe the bracelet
In
was
time.
was actually like opening it back up for her now.
But maybe the reason okay, we're gonna come
Because
back to
she
this.
tried.
Maybe the reason Elliot was surprised to see her there was not because she went back in time or not because she's in the current time, but because she went even further back to where Elliot was brought to. And he was like, why are you here? Because it wasn't her
Possibly.
time. Maybe that's what the bracelet coming back was. Because we just brought up that we forgot to mention that the pond returned her bracelet. That was what it was. B and K, Brady and Kat.
Yes.
Yeah.
B plus K, whatever. And they thought that was a goodbye, but maybe it was saying, hey, come back to me. I'll give you things if you come back to me.
I think it might have.
Could be.
Oh, the other thing we didn't talk about. Okay, that kiss between Elliot and Kat.
That was spicy
That
for the
was
Hallmark. I
steamy.
was like, my goodness, like
It was
what's going on?
weird how it ended though. And why is Elliot so confused by why Kat is mad that he just dipped?
I don't know. It's weird.
He acts like,
Is it a diff-
why aren't you
is
happy
this
that I left? Like, what? Why? Why would she be happy
It's like
about
we got
that?
time traveling Elliot. He doesn't know what his former self did, apparently. Like, I don't know.
So I think there was, as we sit here, okay, what you guys are not going to see because I'm going to, blessedly for you, I'm going to cut it all out while we are drastically and desperately trying to find these scenes that we know we aren't making up. So let us know, did you guys see a figure of a person watching them at the house? Because we can't seem to find that in the episode anywhere, but we all three of us remember seeing it. I remember just being black shape. Jeanette and Amanda remember thinking, oh, that's Colton. There's also a preview for tonight's episode where there was a woman holding a gun that we also cannot find, that we found like 30 other clips from tonight's episode. Don't know what's happening here.
The person holding the gun is definitely wearing something black.
Yes. Well, it looked like they had a hood and it was like a shadow of a face, like the Grim Reaper, which would be accurate, but I don't think it was the Grim Reaper, but that's just how it looked. So what you don't see is we've been trying to figure out this stuff and we can't. And as we were sitting here talking and trying to find this stuff, we remembered other things, which will happen in the show. We're not going to talk about them. These are the things that we immediately thought of when we tried to remember back to the episode. So there's more details. If there are other theories that you have, other things that you want to talk about, other things you want to point out to us, please comment down below. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, which is Fandom Family Chats. The more you subscribe there, the more that we will be able to be seen as a group that has credibility, and we can get some interviews with these cast and crew members. Also check out our Facebook group. We know that we don't have one specifically for The Way Home because it's a Hallmark and Peacock, but the closest thing we have to it is Netflix, which is Netflix Originals, Netflix Family Fan Club. We've got stuff on My Life with the Walter Boys on there. Check that out. And you can find us on all social medias under Fandom Family Chats. Also, if you have not heard our podcast, go to Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, and check us out there. Share it with your family and friends. Let them know that we've got going on, and we want to hear your theories. What are they? What do you think happened? Who do you think has the land? Who do you think the horse is? Because it has to be a person. So our vote is Colton. Do you think it is? Maybe it's Jacob. I don't know. Maybe the dog is Elliot. We don't know. Let us know your theories. We want to know what you think. Next week, again, we don't know when this is coming out. We are going to record a recap after every one of these episodes. We're not sure how we're going to put them out, when we're going to put them out, but keep watching our channel for some fun things we got coming up for you soon, and we'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at Wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.